Greetings and welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G. I'm your host, Dr. G, and I'm so glad you could keep our appointment. Now, my guest tonight, Kevin Barringer, aka Magus 9, is no stranger to you and definitely not to Office Hours with Dr. G fans. He started off as a Christian and found inconsistencies and contradictions in the church and the Bible as a child. And after not finding answers to his questions about the church, he prayed to God, the universe, to just show him the truth no matter what it was. Soon after this heartfelt plea to the universe, he was introduced to alternative knowledge by way of a book called The New World Order by Ralph Epperson, which led him down a 25-year path of extensive research and study into a multitude of topics from ancient world, Moorish history, secret societies and symbolism, movie symbolism, the Commission, mystical, metaphysical sciences such as alchemy, astrology, and the science of melanin, political sciences and world governments, esoteric fitness, nutrition, to Aboriginal constitutional and police stop law. Now, Magus 9's mission, aka Magus 9, Kevin Barringer, is to pass on the information the universe has entrusted within him to help restore, elevate, and evolve the consciousness of all melanated people and the world as a whole. Now, tonight, he's going to give us 2022 in preview. What's the 411? Help me welcome back to Office Hours with Dr. G, my friend, and hopefully yours, Brother Kevin Barringer. Hey, welcome. You know the drill. Yeah, that's me. One more. We got one more.
We got one more?
I think that's the last part coming down. Yeah. Who's she? Yeah, that's me.
Can I get my intro? I need my intro done like that.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, we can hook you up. A lot of folks be contacting me that are musicians, singers, songwriters, and so forth. And of course, a lot of folks love this particular beat. You know,
right.
what I love about it is when the show is over and I'm playing it on the outro.
Right.
A lot, half the folks are still on there, just
right.
I'm afraid if I change it, if I put another one on, I might lose my audience.
I need that. I need that intro.
Anyway, it is good to see you during this at the beginning of this fiscal year.
Yeah, this is it. Absolutely.
Fiscal year.
Money
right?
year. The money
year.
year.
It's not, we know this is not our new year.
Right.
we know it's not our new year, but we know this is a fiscal year. And as you can see, I decided to go someplace very warm and sunny.
I see. What place is that behind you, Dr. G?
I told you, I just kind of imagined myself being like, Miami or somewhere.
Okay.
And poof, I was there.
In Cabo San Lucas.
There you go. There you go.
Ain't matter. I don't know the East Coast cold right now, isn't it?
Yes. But listen, I'm so pleased that I have the honor, if you will, to count you amongst my friends and someone I can call up
Absolutely.
and just kick it with, and someone who I can. Now, we didn't do this one on the last minute. No, you knew 2 weeks ago you were coming here. But I wanted you to you're always so full of knowledge and information, and insight, and straight from the hip, straight, no chaser. Although we just, we know we use other terminology to be in compliance.
Yeah, we know the YouTube overlords.
Yes, right. The overlords and the tyranny that we are currently experiencing. But we realize that we are our ancestors who have returned to deliver us from this tyranny.
That's right.
Can I get a yeah, we did? No.
Yes. No, absolutely.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So I don't create questions a week in advance or even an hour in advance, because I like to be fluid.
Right.
I like to be, I like to be spontaneous. I like to be able to hear whatever the universe is saying to me at the time, and knowing that, it must be what needs to be said, because what I write last week may not be relevant this week.
Right.
So with that said, calling this the year in 2022 in preview. A lot of times you're looking at things in review. So you're going back and seeing what happened before. But the most, as a intro to whichever way you want to go with this, some of the things that I have experienced over the last month or so that I've been looking at and having, more insight into was one, Matrix Resurrection. So I did see that, and I've been watching, and I would love to get this brother on the show, so I hope he hears this too. But I've been watching for the last maybe month and a half or so, or two, maybe a couple of months, Rashad Jamal. And Rashad Jamal, I like what he says. He's like, I don't curse. He said, but we use profanity here. So if you don't want to hear
okay.
It's off my, but when you get past all of that, the young brother is so deep. I mean, he's one of those returned ancestors, still in his 30s, I believe, but so profound in his knowledge and his insight. So one of the things that he said recently, I was watching something I think he just did a few days ago, because he had been under the weather a little bit. And I'm saying this in case it's the case here. Right. He said, when he talks about, he said, we need to stop calling people trolls that come on our channel and start to, make all kinds of, negative comments and try to stir up all kinds. He said, they are not trolls. He said, because if you don't really like somebody, or he said, if you don't like what somebody is saying, who would sit on someone's channel every time they come on just to be angry about what they're hearing, if they weren't paid CIA informants or going route. So I'm gonna start just ignoring folk that I know are getting a paycheck for being on channels and creating some shit. Oh, did I say that? Yeah, that's what I said. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we realized, he said that. He said anybody, normally, if you don't like something, you turn a series on. You're like, I don't like that. Do you go back and look at it again next week? You don't like it. You already got the gist of what it is. It's gonna go this way. But if you pay, you go on there week after week, so the ratings go up. So, or in your case, if you out here, trolling the channel or for somebody, then do it so you make sure that you're creating all kinds of division and schism and all that stuff so that you can get paid. So with that,
some of those are bots where those are just automatic programs. That is, they can do that. They can program them to write those foul comments, and they just go automatically on their own. So yeah, it'll be some alternative, and they'll just place the bot on your channel and just keep it moving.
Yes, right. So I've learned how to. I just don't pay attention to some folks, and then some folks say crazy stuff, especially when Grand Sheik is on, and I'll pick out the most craziest thing and then I'll read it, because if they really real, then everybody probably didn't see the comment, but if I see it and flash it up and give it, then I want everybody else to see how ridiculous that sounds. Like, if that's the way you feel, why are you on this channel week after week whenever we're, you know what I mean? Go somewhere else and find your answers, find your truth. but that's not what this show is about. That's just an intro. So, right. and then the Matrix Resurrection, because Mother Kai and I were on last week, and she's always deep diving, and we're talking about the Matrix Resurrection among other things. But I saw what they were talking about finally in this final. I don't know what is this final in this fourth.
It's the final one because they didn't make no money, so it's going to be the final one.
But you know what, Brother Kevin? The fact of the matter is, it was deep. It was, to me, if you had the first one and the fourth one, you see what happened in the beginning, and they were looking for the one. They thought they had the one because he has some types of attributes of who the one should be. But all along, the one turned out to be the woman, the Trinity, which is another thing that I think I heard Rashad Jamal say, that the Trinity, where the man has the could have the divine, feminine and masculine. Women have feminine, masculine, and the divine or the Godhead. So the Trinity resides in the divine feminine. And so at the end of that, not spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, who's holding everything up? Who's keeping everything from who did it depend on, at the end of the day? And so we've been seeing that. You see it on the more questions you see, the woman, humanity written on her womb and she's unconscious. We got to wake up, right? And I think that was kind of somewhat portrayed in that particular movie. But there's a lot of other stuff going on. And so we're not going to go there unless you want to, because you out there on the West Coast with this, where there's a lot of nuisance going on.
Yeah,
you hear what I said? Yeah. I call it
nuisance, not nuisance. Yeah,
nuisance. It's nuisance going on, and it seems like that there's the West Coast, and then there's New York. There's
California and New York.
So let's talk about what's going on.
Well, they're trying to implement this one world government, and that's the new agenda. They've been planning this for 20 years at least. They've been planning this one world government for at least 100 years, but this implementation of the plan about 20 years, and that's in the patents that you can go find on that the government they have on the hokey pokey. I call it the hokey pokey. So they have the patents on it. So this is the government. This is all a government thing. And so when you look back at who's running this thing and who created this, who literally they applied for these patents 20 years ago. In 2002, they applied for these patents on this stuff in 2002. So they've been ready to implement this plan for the last 20 years, which is why no matter how stupid it looks, they don't care. They just going to push forward with the agenda. No matter if you say, well, then can't people who got the hokey pokey, they can still get it and pass it, right? Doesn't matter. We just go get it. Just go get it. It's going to save your life. Wait, how? What? That doesn't make any sense. Wait, don't 99% of the people live from it? Doesn't matter. Go get it. It's going to say. So again, this is the overall agenda, and they have to get the two biggest states involved in it. If they don't get the two biggest states involved in it, then it's a lot harder to get the rest of the country to fall through with it. So California and New York is even worse than California. California is bad, but New York has they've created a law to put them in camps. They have a law that if they deem you a public health risk, they can throw you in a camp. The same way they did in Australia to the people that they're doing in Australia. They just picking them up. Like there was a video of a lady, she was in the camp, and she talked about how she got to the camp, and she said that no one basically contacted her. How it was, like she got contacted out of the blue from the government, and they said, look, you were in contact with someone who had it. So either you come and get tested and make sure that you don't have it, or you got to come to this camp, or you get fined $5,000. That was right there on the spot. So she was like, wait a minute, you gotta. So they came with they said, you need to go in this caravan right now. Like they came to her, knocked on the door and said, look, you either get in this there was like a bus, some type of bus that was taking them to a certain place to get them tested. Like either you get in here or you have to go pay this $5,000 fine. So she was like, well, I ain't got $5,000. So let me go do this thing. Went there, found out she didn't have it, but because she was in contact with somebody who had it, they still put her in this thing for like 2 weeks. She didn't testing negative the whole time, never tested positive once. And the way they found her, this is the crazy shit. The way they found her was they saw her, they got her license plate through the camera, one of the cameras that's in the intersection. When you pass through the intersection, they found her license plate through the camera. So this is the whole shit coming together. This Big Brother contact tracing, all of that is coming together, and that's the main implementation. That's what they're trying to do in the world. It's easier to do in countries like Australia and Italy and in places like that, France, because they're not America is made up of 50 sovereign countries, it's so much harder for them to implement one major plan when you have literally 50 sovereign countries that you have to do this with. So they have to kind of maneuver and shape, whereas in those other countries, they're not like that. They have one totalitarian, one major dude who can make decisions, or person who can make decisions for the whole country.
Would that be the reason why they are trying to reduce the authorities of the governors and so forth, and trying to bring this all under the so-called federal?
Exactly. Yeah. That's what the whole executive, or so what the executive order is, or the mandate is, it's not a law, it's an executive order. And executive orders are only good during times of emergency. But you can't stay in a perpetual state of emergency. You're not supposed to. Let me say this. You're not supposed to. However, the American government has been in a perpetual state of emergency since they went bankrupt. So they don't tell the American public that. So this is how they're able to implement a lot of the things that they do. Now, if it got out that, the American government is not real, it's been in a state of emergency since, the early 1900s, a lot of that would just mess up America. So they can't tell you that on the surface. But this is the way they're able to implement a lot of the bullshit. But so they say, okay, we can't really make the governors or the states do this. How do we get around that? So many businesses have certain contracts with us. So we can say, all right, if you don't make your people get the hokey pokey, then you lose these government contracts, which is coercion. See, that's coercion. That's supposed to be against the law. You're not supposed to. That's threat, duress, and coercion. You're not supposed to be able to do that. But this is what they're doing. Now, the crazy thing is, because it's so unconstitutional, what they're using is the fear. They're using the fear of you melting in the street when somebody breathes on you to be able to implement this whole thing, because they know it's so unconstitutional. But when it's challenged, it's been downed every time pretty much except one in the Sixth Circuit. But every other court has been like, dude, what are you doing? You can't do this. This is against the Constitution. So then this week, this is the ill shit. This week in the Supreme Court, they just did the arguments for the hokey mandate, the hokey pokey mandates, right? The judges, the Democratic judges, they were trying to push the line forward. Oh, there's so many, and they were lying when they were doing. They were like, oh, so many thousands of children have died, like hundreds of thousands. This is Sotomayor. She said 100,000 children have died, and blah. She was lying her ass off. There's been no 100,000 children have died at all. But she had
probably going to see a lot of going to be dying from getting the hokey pokey.
But what they're doing, they're boosting the numbers, because the kids who do have it, and it's only been something
the children.
The children.
I learned.
Huh?
I know. I got
no, that's okay. The children who are getting it in school, or I mean not in school, but who are getting taken to the emergency room, they're going because of something else. They got a broken leg, or what I'm saying, they have some type of other injury, and because everyone has to get tested when they go in, they're testing them, and then they're finding out, oh, you have this, and so you're being admitted. They're calling it you're with COVID. You're in the hospital with COVID, or with the the boogie V, instead of you actually having it. And that's the way they're boosting the numbers up to make it look like all these kids are all these kids have it.
All these young, how about let's call them young stars.
Look, again, I'm about transmutation. I know what the word means, so mentally,
I know you do.
I'm transmuting it. So I don't. So I'm not going to probably go back and say children all the time, because I know what
I'm picking on you. I know you know. I know you know. You teach more science. But anyway, yeah. So what you're saying is they're using any excuse that children come in and to give them a test, and then to say whether, are you saying that in a lot of the cases perhaps that they don't even have it? They're there.
And no, they just say, oh, and they'll just say, oh, they, if they have a broken leg, broken arm, whatever it is, and then they test them, and then again, we don't know, but these tests are a little spooky. All of them keep coming, so many keep coming up positive. But if they test positive, they'll say, oh, they have it, but it's just they're in the hospital with it, not that they have it. They're
not in the hospital for it,
because of it, right? Because of it,
but it's with that they got with it.
And that's how they boost, and that's the lingo, how they boost the number. Even your boy Fauci, he came on, he was on CNN and he said it. So now they're trying to move past this, because so he goes, let me just tell you this, then I'll tell you why they're moving past it. So he goes, yeah, we're moving towards a more we're trying to, move towards focusing more on, just not focusing on the cases, but focusing on the hospitalizations, because they know they can just focus a big flashlight on cases, and cases. They can do that all day and make it seem like, the cases will never stop. But because we're moving into 2022, this is an integral year for these niggas. Right? They're about to get, this is the primary year. So they have to pull the rhetoric back. All this rhetoric back, because then they looked at the numbers, and basically what's more important to the American public is the economy. 70% of the people was like economy, whereas only 30% of the people was worried about, the boogie V now. Nobody cares about that anymore. So because of that, they have to pull the rhetoric back, and now they have to be like, now they got to start easing up, restrictions on people, because if you're mashing on people, by the time it comes to go to the ballot box,
they're gonna mash the other people.
There you go. So Fauci's like, yeah, most of the case, a lot of the cases, they didn't, we reevaluated, and they actually were in the hospital with COVID, not because of it. And so I'm like, okay, we knew this the whole goddamn year before, but now you finally coming out and say this, because now it's getting political. So this is the whole, now we're going to be in a year now of this primary election, where you're going to see.
This is what the midterm election.
Midterm. Sorry. The midterm elections. And so you're going to see the a lot of these primaries for the Congress people. And so you're going to start seeing them pull the rhetoric back and not talk about, they're going to talk about the economy and letting you be freer. Watch, they're going to start talking about letting you be freer. So because in the Supreme Court this week, the judges go, when is the emergency going to be over? And they were like, we're looking at that. There's new cases, and we have new variants. Yeah.
Tell me how you can identify and name all of these V's,
right,
when you really haven't really locked down
the first one
on the original,
one,
right? And if they're V's, did you create them when you made the C? Are you just releasing them? And another thing that I how things just drop in your head, and you be like, interesting. A friend of mine, a high school friend, I found out, who transitioned at the very beginning of this month, so like the 2nd or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was checking to see when it's, homegoing and so forth. And it's going to be the 31st of the month. And here's the thought that hit me. He's a veteran, right? Mm-hmm. So normally a vet is interred in the vet where, they have veteran cemeteries. But there were so many veterans succumbing to something right about now that there's a backup for them to be able to open up graves to bury them. Mm-hmm. And so I can see, I had my cousin's husband was in the Veterans Hospital about a couple months ago, and he about 2 months, October or November, and he transitioned. It seems like they are having a way of getting rid of, we got pensions and all of these various things at the vet. So you force your veterans to go through that, mm-hmm. and then they have to get that, right. And then they're checking out.
They're checking out
in mass, in mass.
And they're hiding all of this stuff. This is what I'm saying. This is why it's the propaganda conspiracy going on, because they're hiding all of it. They're letting no opposition to it be shown whatsoever. Even if you got hokied up before, and then you were all with it before. You're like, yeah, I'm getting line. Give me my jag. If you were all with it, and then after you got two of them, they came and said, "Oh yeah, you need a Boost Mobile. You need a third. You need a third Boost Mobile." And they're like, "Wait a minute, you said the first two was gonna work. What the?" And then after you get the Boost Mobile, the third Boost Mobile, like your girl Whoopi, see, and she was one who was always talking crap against the people who didn't get it, and then she got her third Boost Mobile, and she got it again. So then you start questioning, you're like, wait a minute, hold up. You said the two, then the Boost Mobile, and that was going to be good. So now when you start questioning after that, they call you hesitant. They call you not, craccination hesitant. Instead of, you know what I'm saying? So there's still there's no opposition. So even if you were with it and you took it, so they can't call you anti. They can't call you anti because you took it. And even if you took three, you're like, I got three of them. How you gonna call me anti? Well, you're what is it? You're hesitant. You're craccination.
Hesitant to take a fourth, right?
Yeah.
Then of course you have the other argument that I hear is that get the one that came through J. Hopkins. Right. It was a melanated scientist, doctor, or something that created that. I said, but she works for them.
Yeah, that's the worst one. That's the least they found. That's the least effective one. It was like only 19% effective. They found out over time, over a certain amount of time.
Effective at doing killing. Keeping people from getting or contracting it, or not as effective in taking them out.
Taking them out. That's what they meant. Not as effective.
Okay.
Yeah, hospitalization.
So that's why folks were saying, yeah, if you got to get that one, because But still, the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of history with that particular institution that goes way, way, way back of other experimentation and things that didn't go well for certain indigenous melanated folks. Mm-hmm. And it was created right down this East Coast area where I am. Mm-hmm. This corridor is really a hotbed of things having come through the government laboratories and things, Maryland and that between that Maryland DC area, a lot of stuff.
That's where all the bullshit is going on, right in your little area. That's where all the little secret society people are.
Okay. I don't know why. I guess that's why I chose to come back for this, and be
right
here.
There. All right there.
Right up here in the area of this stuff. And then to have, the pretender to the throne coming from here. I mean, did I say that? Living here, I guess, if he's still really living, but here, you
are in the state where the United States of America is
incorporated.
Incorporated. The United States of America Inc. is incorporated in your state.
I do know that.
So this is the thing. So real quick, the Supreme Court. This is why they're about to knock this down. So there's a battle going on inside the governments, and a lot of people don't even know that. And I'll go back to this. Whatever you think about Trump, whatever the hell you think about, he wasn't supposed to be there. He was kind of like a monkey wrench in the works, which is why they were working so hard to get him out of there. But while he was there, he kind of threw this one world government off for about 4 years. With all these executive orders, he came in and he ripped up everything that Obama did. And he didn't even know what he was doing. He just came in and anything Obama touched, he ripped it up. He didn't even know why he was doing it. He was like, he just started ripping it up. Because Obama was supposed to put it together, this one world order. He was the initiator of it. Then Hillary was supposed to come in and see it through. Then these patriot cats on the inside and all that, they kind of rigged a lot of what was going on and got Trump in there. Trump thwarted it for about 4 years, and then they got him out. Now, this is the thing. What he did, a lot of people don't even understand this. The judges who are about to rule against the crackination mandates are the ones Trump put in there. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that's about to free everybody. And everybody be talking. I'm like, look, whatever you think about that dude, right now, the people he put on the Supreme Court are about to the 6 people he got on the Supreme Court, or the 6 Republicans that are on there. He put like 3. But because there are 6 and Trump got those on there, they're about to wipe away with the crackination mandates. When that happens, that's going to trickle down into the rest of the states. If it's unconstitutional on the federal level, then it's unconstitutional on the state level. Mm-hmm. And so that's going to get lifted. But then they coming out. Then there's a new variant coming out called Pi. You heard about that? They got something else for your ass when they do that. Oh, wait a minute. Oh shit! Hey, what about this one?
They reach back in their bag of tricks and we got this one.
Wait a minute. Hold on, Judge. I got one more. And so that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing right now. Also, they come up with the 2 because during the whole time that this whole Plan DZ was going on, the flu just disappeared. It just went. It was one of the biggest killers in the world for 30 years, 40 years, 50, however long it's been out. Now all of a sudden,
more than that,
it's gone. But what I mean by that is just when it was at the top of the numbers. Mm-hmm. So for now it's all of a sudden gone. Then now they're bringing it back and they're connecting the 2, and they're calling it Fluvit.
Are you serious?
No, they're saying these 2 combined, the regular flu and they're combined, and they're calling it. I'm telling you, that's what they're calling it now. They got it. Their game is not ending. They're like, we got to pull out anything we can. Get that bag of tricks.
Are you sleep ass people seeing what's going on? How come you can't see this?
It's crazy. But also the reason they have to do that is because remember the flu has been the biggest thing, one of the biggest things in pharmaceuticals for how that many years, 50 years or whatever, however long it's been. Now all of a sudden we got all this, sitting up, we got all this hokey pokey juice sitting up on the shelf while you do this one over here. What about this? You can't sit this up on the shelf for 2 years. You got contracts with the people who make this. So they came in like, oh shit, yeah, we got to honor these contracts. All right, we got to get this off the shelf. What do we do? Yeah, Fluvit. Boom. There it is. They put the 2 together. Now they can get the other shit off the shelf.
Oh my.
And then I don't know if most people heard that Pfizer just linked up with a company that does what is it? Let me make sure it's hold on. It's gene editing.
Oh,
they just invested.
Is that CRISPR technology?
$1.3 billion they just gave to a company that does gene editing. Meaning,
isn't that similar to the CRISPR technology?
The CRISPR technology. What do you mean?
There was a movie that came out a few years ago with Dwayne Johnson and there was this ape. I don't know if you would remember it, and something fell out of this plane, and the ape, or they had like a preserve for animals, and he had like sort of an ape that was really friendly at the, on the compound, and the ape got in contact with what fell off the plane.
Oh, and he got huge.
And then there was other thing. What was this technology called CRISPR? Which if you look it up, it does exist, but there's another name, and someone showed where it actually is in the Bible about this particular stuff that's connected with the CRISPR technology, which is changes, like I said, it changed their DNA and so forth, that it grew them into these very angry, and humongous, caricatures of themselves. Yeah. So there's something that's been going on, and I don't doubt that that's not being interjected into some of it, because I don't know what their end game is per se. But I do think this. I do think that little group, and it's a little group compared to the whole of us, But I do think that little group feels that they have that technology. I don't even want to say has advanced enough. I would say they have gone back into the ancient technologies now enough that they know how to create. I've seen this thing on AI that looks so lifelike. They even look like us, some of them. There's something I saw on YouTube, and they have conversations, and they look like us. They don't really need us like they needed us in, say, the early 1900s after they put us, got us in subjection. Because prior to that, we were running stuff. Prior to that, I'm reading stuff and seeing videos on the World's Fairs and the mud floods, and finding out that these World's Fairs were based on technology and buildings that they came and found that belonged to us. Right. And then they may pretend they constructed to reconstruct what was over on the other side of the world, which was always over on this side of the world first. Yep. And they had World's Fairs, right? Yep. And then they had mud floods where they, a lot of things got buried, but that technology was far more advanced back then than we are now. They're pulling out stuff from ancient technology. And that series, and I said this on a couple of shows, what's it called? The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime.
Did you see me? Man,
when you got to episode 8, and this is all medieval. You get to episode 8, and it does a flashback, and it says 3,000 years ago. They flying and beautiful buildings like George Jetson and all of those things. Yeah. And that was a breakdown.
You didn't see the breakdown I did of the Wheel of
Time? No, I didn't talk about that. No, I didn't see that. I missed it. I watched the show, but I didn't hear your breakdown.
Yeah, no, man, that the Wheel of Time. If you guys haven't seen that, it is crazy, off the chain. So the guy who did it, I think his name was what is it? Richard Jordan or Robert Jordan, one of the two. That's just his writing name. But he was like this Christian, this high order Christian Mason, because he was a high church Episcopalian, which is pretty much the Masonic church. That's where all the politicians belong to. And he wrote these books, 14 books. In comparison, the Game of Thrones is only 4 books. When they started making the Game of Thrones, you can see that. So like after season 4, that's when they just start making up stuff. But this dude had 14 books, and actually there's like pre-books but there's a pre-book that goes before the book. So that this story is crazy. They're dealing with, it's like Game of Thrones, but dealing with the spiritual science, the sciences that come from us, that come from the Moors. They're really telling the story of the Moors. If you really understand, the whole story is about the dragon. They started off, excuse me. That whole story starts off with the dragon who, there was this dragon, in ancient times, there was one who they called the dragon who had great power. And then he broke the world. And then, this dragon broke the world, and they were waiting for him to return in the cycle of life in order to be able to fix the world. So this is the premise of the show. There was a super sorcerer dude who had all this power, and he misused the power, And so then they're waiting for him to come back in order to be able to use the power correctly and fix what he broke. Who that sound like?
Sound like us.
Niggas misused the power. We had all this power in the world, misused the power, lost it. Now they're waiting for us to come back in order to wield the power correctly in order to fix the world. So that's the premise of it. But the one power, the power that they use is called the one power. And the one power is broken into the divine masculine and divine feminine. That's the yin and yang. And that's how you use the power. And, you know, as far as the how the power is how the power is used, the power is broken down into 5 separate powers: water, wind, fire, earth, and spirit. And so men and women can use the power of spirit equally. Men wield fire and earth the best, and women wield air and water the best. And so, but not that each one of them can't wield the other power. It's just it's just harder for them to do. And so in showing how they wield the power, it's showing the yin and yang of the forces. So like the man, so the power, the true power, you got to explain the true power. The true power is like this river of energy that you're able to draw, you're able to draw from, right? You're able to draw from this energy or channel from this never ending river of energy. And that's the way they explain it. And so very few people are able to even touch the one power, let alone wield it, you know, as in, you know, in order, you know, as something that they can use, you know, as far as magic. So basically the river, the river of energy is just a metaphor for consciousness, like higher consciousness. And so when they're using this force, this magical force, like I said, the men have to wield the energy. They have to basically will the energy. That's the masculine force. We have to wield it and will it. Whereas the women, the way they use it, they allow the energy to flow in harmony with the universe. Excuse me. And so that's the yin and yang. The yin and one, you know, force versus, you know, or aggression versus passivity. So how the story went, there was together, these two forces ruled everything. Together, they were called the Aes Sedai, which meant servants of all. So together, the divine masculine and divine feminine served everyone, right, with their power. And when they wielded the power together, when they used the power together, they were able to create this incredible shit, which is what you saw in the story in episode 8, when you saw the flying, you know, basically they were living in a space age time, because that was
3,000 years prior.
Right, that was called the Golden Age. So there was the first age, then there was the Golden Age, and then there's the Third Age. The Third Age is where the show starts off after the Golden Age, like, you know, 3,000 years after the Golden Age. But in there, so again, this is the dragon mythology. Remember, the dragon. Those who don't know, the history of the dragon is the Moors. That's any dragon lore that you see in history deals with the Moors. Right, because dragon means what? Dragon, the etymology of dragon is sight, clear sight, or third eye. So anyone who was a dragon was someone who had to be enlightened. So back in the times where you get the Uraeus and Kemet, everything that you see in history that's a serpent is a dragon. Excuse me, everything that you see as a serpent represents enlightenment. But the Caucasian turned it into something evil, because that's, you know, that wasn't their culture. So the reason also, the way you know that it's a dragon, in the Crusades, what is it? Sigismund von Luxembourg was this noble who created an order called the Order of the Dragon. And that order was dedicated to stomping out or defeating the Moor, what they call the infidel or the dragon, which was us, the Moor. So that's how you know that we're the dragon in history, because there was a whole order created to defeat the dragon, which they considered was us. Excuse me. That's where you get Dracula, which is son of the dragon, because he was in that order. And so Dracula's father, so Dracula was Vlad of Wallachia. and he was the principal Lockett, but his father was in the Order of the Dragon. You should go watch that movie. Two movies. Bram Stoker's Dracula with Keanu Reeves. Why don't and you got to watch the first 5 minutes. That's where the Order of the Dragon. That's where all of it is. The very first 5 minutes, and then Dracula Untold. That came out in 2014. That breaks off the Moors and how people had to pay tribute to the Moors, to the Sultan, when the Sultan rolled up on the land and he demanded 1,000 kids or whatever. You had to pay the tribute to the Moor. That shows that in there. So we were the dragon because people, they saw us as this evil nigga who rolled up on them and aggressively smashed on them. But we were also, that was the depiction of a dark dragon. Also in history, where we were considered the golden dragon, which was, and the dragon. So remember, the reason we were the dragon because of aggression. You know, we with military. The military arm was basically considered the dragon force. We roll up on you and you got my money, you got my you got my kid, you got my tribute, or you getting the smackdown put on you. So that was the dark dragon. But there's also in history the golden dragon, which was the military arm, which would not use force at the beginning. They would try to use diplomacy first. And so a representative of that would be like somebody named Saladin in history, where he would roll up. He was like, yo, can we make a deal before we get into this war and kill all these people? So that was a golden dragon. So in this show, so just to understand, the golden dragon was a person who wielded this energy, this power, this force, but he was of high super consciousness. A dark dragon had the knowledge, but was not of the higher consciousness. They were just all basically aggression. So in the story, now go back to the story of Wheel of Time. You got this dragon who wielded all of this power. He had all this power, and he broke the world with this power. So they're through the show, they're alluding to this dragon, who he was. In the very last show, as you said, they showed who the dragon was. The very first dragon was, and he was a brother. As they showed him, he was a brother. And then on his chest, he had the gold dragon. Again, that represents the enlightenment. So this the symbolism that they throw in here is crazy. So in the story, how the story goes is there's the dark one, and there's the creator, and there's the wheel of time. So you got the wheel of time, the dark one, and the creator. For lack of a better thing, you got the devil, God, and then creation. The wheel of time is basic creation. So the wheel of time represents the feminine, right? So the wheel of time represents the feminine. It's how everything in the universe is manifested. It draws from the one power that never-ending source of energy. It draws from that one power, and it creates everything in existence from that one power. So that's the feminine and the divine masculine. The energy would be for basically considered a masculine force, and the feminine uses that divine masculine force the divine feminine uses that divine masculine for creation, just like the earth uses the sun's energy for creation. So that's the story. That's in the story. Now, the dragon, the golden dragon, the brother, he wanted to go do away with the dark one, basically the devil. And the women, the divine feminine force, they said, no, you have to have a balance of light and dark. You can't do away with that. There's no way you can go destroy evil, because good and evil have to exist. And so he was like, no, I'm telling you, I'm powerful enough. If I go and battle the dark one, I can seal him away forever. I promise you, I can do this. And he was like, I can do it. He's like, we can do it if you help us. And then the women were like, no, because that's not balance. You see, because there's a balance between the masculine and feminine here, and then there's also a balance between dark and light. And she was like, you're about to mess up the dark. You're about to mess up the balance between that. So no, I'm not going to help you. Your arrogance is going to destroy everything. So he was like, all right, well, fuck it. I'm about to go take on the dark dude myself. Fuck it. And so he went and battled the dark one. And when he sealed away the dark one, but before he did it, and this is a metaphor for how this went down, the dark one was basically showing him, yo, yes, I'm evil, but there's a little good in me. You think you're all good with no evil, but there's a little evil in you too, or there's a little disagreeable in you too. And I'm about to show you that. And so when he basically showed him, he had a little disagreeable energy in him. He tainted the masculine power of the force, of the true force. So no man could wield that energy without the taint. There was like this smudge of oil on it whenever the man used it, and they would go crazy every time they used it. So what happened was the dragon, he defeated the dark one. He sealed him away. But because he had that energy on him, he went crazy and killed everybody he loved. Like he killed his family and everybody. Then he went crazy and he drew all the power into himself and destroyed himself, right? So the women, I mean, after he did this, all the men who was wielding this power, this divine force from the true source, they would go crazy and kill everybody. So the women got together and said, the men, y'all can't fuck with this energy no more, because you just destroy everything with it. So they got together and they would draw the energy out of any man who showed a sign of being able to channel this energy. And so they would basically, so they create, in doing this, at first they were trying to keep the balance, but in doing this, they created an imbalance, because they're supposed to be the force is the divine masculine and divine feminine. And if you take the divine masculine away from that energy, you create the imbalance. And so in trying to teach the man how to do this, the women created the imbalance itself. So this is the thing that's playing out, or the story that's playing out in the show right now. There was a balance of energies between the masculine and divine masculine and divine feminine. The divine masculine went off, and he thought he was just so dope that he could just use his energy without the feminine force, and got messed up. And so then the women were like, "Oh, see what you did? You fucked up because you didn't listen to us. So now we got to smack you. We got to pull the energy from you." But in doing that, they created another imbalance. So this is the story, the balance of the divine masculine and divine feminine. It's an awesome story.
And is that why you think, but is that why perhaps we are where we are, now getting off of the metaphor in reality, there's an imbalance between the divine feminine and divine masculine, and how, while we're able to be, in a sense, to be overthrown or defeated because we're not coming together, in our full strength and power. There's a breach. There's a breach. And then, so you have things like the governing our mental and stuff like that, when we knew how to do that all along before, the I don't know what to call them, before they, arose to power, before they arose to power. But something had to happen, perhaps that breach, maybe that breach was what let them in.
Right. Well, I mean, no, you're never at the top. There's, you go like this, you're at the top, then you fall, you rise, and you fall. So that's how we go throughout history, and this is where the Phoenix energy comes in, because, we're at the top for a certain amount of time, our empires, and then our empires fall, and then we rise from the ashes. And so this is where you get the two personifications of us, the dragon and then the Phoenix. The dragon was the more aggressive side of us, who used the military arm, the smackdown. And then you had two sides of that, one who was super aggressive, then one who would use aggression only when they had to. And then the Phoenix side was more scholars and scientists and people like that, philosophers, and people who understood what using that energy in a negative way would bring about. Like, look, you're going to bring about a mass karma on us by doing this. And so this is where you get the two energies from. But
there's a lot of talk been going around for the last year or more, even before that, but more so after Mr. T left the Oval Office, allegedly. And you hear a lot of things about what's going on and what's about to happen, and you hear things like resets and things like that. And then you also see the insurgent or the resurgence, an uptick, if you will, in the tyranny. So it's hard. Where do you see that? Who could both sides be giving sort of what they would love the outcome to be, even though neither one of there may be at an impasse, and both sides are actually saying, I'm the victor. we're coming out of this, and we're going to get all this new, currency is going to change, and this is going to be, peace is going to, 1,000 years of peace. The other side is like, nope, we get ready to lock you down more. We get ready to take we're going to take you, like you said, of the one who said that they got her in Australia. These things. Where do you see us? Because we're looking at 2022 in preview. Where does your divine mind and insight? What do you see? In the going forward. I mean, and two questions. And what is it that we have to do as a powerful people, sleeping giants? What do we have to do to affect the right outcome?
Well, again, this one world government is the major plan. They have to bring all these world governments together. And the plan ain't going well for them. The plan is not going well for them bringing the one worlds together. But the plan has been in effect for so long, they can't go back. So this is their thing. This is, they have to basically, in America being the biggest one on the, the biggest gangster on the map, they have to take America down first. Because if America will never call for a new government if the government is working fine. Like, we don't need a new government for it. My government is working great. So I have to kind of break the government, and show you that the government is corrupt. It doesn't work. The politicians are, they're bought up. So all of this has to come out, and then we have to enrage the people in order for the people to start calling for a new way, a new, something new to come about. And this is why they've introduced socialism to you a long time ago through Bernie Sanders and then AOC, because what do they call? So Bernie Sanders, when he was in the whole time, Bernie was in office, he was just called a socialist the whole time, the whole 40 years. Then when he ran, he knew he couldn't win under the term socialist because that's a hot topic. That's a hot term. So he called himself democratic socialist. So he had to throw the term in front of that, right? So people don't say, oh, okay, he's a democratic socialist. He kind of combined the two. No, he's been a socialist. He just had to throw that in front of there. But what most people don't understand is if you go out and you do history, that type of stuff happens before they overthrow a government, before a government is overturned. So it happened in the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, early 1900s. So when they were overthrowing the government, they introduced something called socialist democrats. See, it's the same damn thing. They just had socialist democrats. Over here, we got democratic socialists. And so right before they overthrew the government over there, it was a group called the Young Turks. And if anybody who watches internet, there's a major news, the number one actually news company on the internet or YouTube is called the Young Turks. It's an internet news program. So, and they're the ones who pushed Bernie Sanders. Basically, they introduced and they had him. They were pushing him the biggest during his campaign, promoting him all over the place. And then they're also responsible for AOC, who's also a democratic socialist under Bernie Sanders. So this is the plan they're trying to move you towards. And they call them progressives, but they're really more socialist than that. So basically, that means that's just getting the government to run everything. People who understand socialism, that's basically where the government basically runs everything.
They dole out everything equal. Yeah. Everybody gets what they consider to be equal. Like nobody gets to have the capitalism. You can't go out and make $2 billion on your own because you're only allowed to have 50,000. So the rest of it,
right? Yeah, you get this money, then you got to get the rest of that to the government. We get the rest of that. You take $2, we get 100 million. You take $2. So that's where they're trying to push this government towards. They've been doing it for so long, and now they've implemented that plan, and they got a lot of people on their side when they were pushing Bernie, right? So what the thing is, the only way they can implement this is if you don't know your rights. This is the only way they can do this. Is with people who don't know their rights.
Know your rights.
Yeah, know your rights. The only way I can rob, if you not say I use this metaphor all the time. If you got $1 billion in gold under your house it's going to be easy for me to steal it if I give you tickets to the Bahamas. I say, hey, you know what, man? You want to go to the Bahamas? Here, take the Bahamas for the whole family. You know what? You want to stay? You can stay at the Hilton. You can stay at you can do everything you want. While you gone, you had no idea you had $1 billion worth of gold under your house. I'm excavating. I'm paying for your trip with your gold under your house. I'm snatching that, and you come back and you had a great vacation, and you gonna have no idea that the gold, that was basically the foundation of your house, that I done ripped it all out. And how long before the house falls now that I done ripped all the valuable foundation of your house out? So that's basically what your rights are like in America. They're the gold, platinum foundation of how this whole thing is standing up, and they're slowly snatching it from you. Here, just by fear. Oh, you give up a gold brick with every fear that they throw in front of you. Hey, man, you're gonna die of this. You sure you don't want us to take it? Yeah, please, government, go ahead, man, take it. Here, you want my gold bar? and you handing out all your gold bars because the government is gonna save you when you're gonna die any goddamn way. They can't save you from dying. You're gonna die any goddamn way. So they can't determine that. But, they know if I slowly erode and make you think you're going to die, but fill your mind full of fear, and the mind full of fear has no room for its own thoughts. So if I pump you full of this, I can slowly erode and take away your rights where you don't know anything. And that's literally the way out of it. That's what's going on. And that's the way out of it. Most people right now, especially in America, you don't have the luxury of, the people who came before this, the generation who came before this, because there was a generation who had to smash out. You had from Jim Crow to the civil rights movement. And melanated people was getting smashed in America. That was a staple. You would get hung from trees, and dogs sicked on you and whole water hoses. We had it hard as hell in America. Then right after that, toward the 70s, we started coming up of it. We started getting freer. And then the civil rights movement happened. We got some rights and this and that. And then we started chilling back. Like, oh, yeah, nigga, we got some rights, my nigga. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jesus, for these rights. And then we start resting and not doing anything. We stopped being active in understanding what those rights are and taking the power in those rights. We start chilling. And so now we had a whole generation of people who hasn't done anything for the rights that they're using, that they had been sitting back just using, just like somebody freeloading on the couch. So now it's coming time to where now you have to do something for these rights if you want to keep them. If you don't want to keep your rights, sit back and don't do nothing. But right now, this is the time that you got to go back and do some shit, do the work that your ancestors did, because they're the ones that got beat and smacked and did all of that, and you living off their work. Now it's your time. You got to put the time in right now if you want the next generation to have the same freedoms that you had, and you don't want to lose it. You don't want to lose these freedoms that in the last part of your life. So this is what we're going on right now, and there's no way around it. They're really trying to rip your rights from under you. And if you go and look at the cases, the Supreme Court talked about this week. They were literally like, dude, what are y'all doing? This is. First of all, the lower courts already ruled against the mandates. They were like, this is an egregious violation of the Constitution. What are y'all doing? Y'all can't do this. You're like, come on, Biden. And that's when the government was like, all right, we're not going to enforce the mandates no more, because that's when those courts ruled against them. Then a court ruled for them in the Sixth Circuit, right? So then now we got to go to the appellate court. We got to go to the Supreme Court. Now the Supreme Court is hearing these arguments, and the Supreme Court is like, man, what you think? We just gonna have a state of emergency for forever? Y'all just gonna have no? What you doing? When is this gonna end?
They gotta look at the calendar, set a schedule. What they put on the schedule is supposed to, it ends when we get rid of y'all. It's not moving as planned.
Right. So, well, when we get everybody hokey, is that enough? No, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. So this is what happened this week in the Supreme Court. Then another judge said, because people were trying to find out what was in it, what was in the juice, right? I call it the X juice, hokey juice, whatever. People were trying to find out with it. They said, Yeah, we'll tell you what's in it. Give us 75 years. Give us 75 years and we'll tell you what's in it. When everybody dead who got something to do with the goddamn hokey pokey. When we all dead, we'll tell you then. So then the judge was like, no, it took you 10 months to come up with it. So it's going to take you 10 months to tell us. You have to release 55 pages of documents every month.
Unredacted.
Yep. This is what happened this week, y'all. I'm telling you, you're getting some wins. Y'all don't know, man. Your rights. People are fighting out here for your rights. Most of y'all don't know that because most of y'all don't know your rights. But the people who do, they are out here fighting and they winning right now. They are winning. So, Pfizer has to come up in the next 10 months. They have to come up what's in the hokey juice. Now, will his plane fall out of the sky? Who knows? Don't want to wish that on him, huh?
No, I said possibly.
Like, who knows? Will this judge planes fall? Hey, we don't want to wish that on him, but man, this boy,
things have happened.
This boy, that's kind of gangster. 10 months? We got to know what's in the hokey juice?
I saw an ad, a video that someone sent me where a woman goes to a pharmacy, a CVS.
Yes.
Yes. And she wants the paper with the contradictions and things that, the drug facts. And when the pharmacist himself opens it up, this thick thing, it's like almost it's blank.
It's blank, nothing in it.
And he's like, this makes me question.
Right. He said, I feel like a bad pharmacist.
Right, I shouldn't be a pharmacist, right?
I've been giving this to people, and I don't know what's in it.
And it's not even in here. Yeah, they put a thick piece of fake blank paper in it, as if if you open this up, it's all the research, all the contradictions, and all of the the things that might not go. Nothing.
Yep. Nothing.
Nada.
Zero.
Everything in it. So you're going to get these shots and like, can I see what's in it first? Let me read this stuff. There's nothing to read.
Nothing. Like, yeah, we'll tell you in 75 years. What?
Yeah, the experiment, the testing is going on now.
Yeah, you the test. So wait, hold on. We need to see what happened to you in the next 5 years. Hold on. So then we'll know after we see what happened to you in the 5 years. So that's what's going on. And the judge said, nah, buddy. So we'll in the next 10 months is going to be real crucial to see what happened with these papers and what comes out. But there are major wins going on, but we have to keep this going because what you have is the patriot. There's a lot of these patriot cats who are in the government and Trump put in place who see what the corporate Democrats are doing, and they're trying to move it to. It's the corporate Democrats that are trying to move it towards the socialist government. The Republicans don't want that because they're going to lose. They're going to lose the cachet that they've been chilling on for the past since the government.
Both sides.
Both sides. But the Republicans really been using it. They really been getting it. The Democrats, they're like, all right, they tied in. They're tied in with the one world order, what's coming. So they're going to have a great position. But these Republicans, they're sitting fat on the hog with America being on the top right now. And if America gets taken down and gets put on the same level as other governments in the world, these Caucasian supremacists, white supremacist Republicans, they lose everything. So right now they are fighting their asses off to keep America free and sovereign and all that. Y'all better get with these motherfuckers, whatever the reason. Whatever the reason they want to keep it like that, it's good for you too. Because America is the last place where that has that type of freedom because it's 50 sovereign countries. And unless you know that, they taking that shit from you.
Wow. I used to think, and I've said this before recently, I used to think when I was studying the Bible and all of the things, I kept thinking, and here's the prophecy and Revelation and various books that had prophetic, overtones and so forth. And I was like, well, where does America figure into all of this? Because, we're over here, we're reading about stuff that happened somewhere over there, only to find out that over it was always over here.
Yep.
And the over there is the fake stuff. And the over here, so yes, we do figure into a lot of things that we thought was somewhere in another country, in a distant land, in a distant time. And but there was always I'm not even sure what scripture it is, but it said something about this is the generation. I think something like this is the generation, oh Jacob, or something that seeks thy face, and it talked about this generation. And whenever I read it, it was in the Old Testament. I felt that it wasn't a then a scripture that of something that happened then, but the word was speaking to me that I was in the generation that was going to seek the truth. And it's not saying truth, but basically this generation. It was not. It didn't say that was. It says this is.
Yep.
If this is, it's a right now.
Yeah, right now.
It's not
a
time.
Right. Ain't no more time.
Right. We've learned so many things, about how time is stacked as opposed to on a linear scale and so forth, and all of the things that we thought weren't, even us having this conversation, we know is our consciousness sitting somewhere outside the body projecting,
right.
projecting into all of these 6 billion people on the planet. So we have 6 billion conscious projections
right.
out here, while we all sitting in the one, thinking that we are only all by ourselves, separate.
Yep. Get all this mind power together.
Yes, we need to start to take our hands off of our joystick and look around and say, oh wow, everybody else we're in the same control room. We can control some shit.
We all
get on the same flow, on the same accord.
Yep. And understand, did you see the video of the doctor who did the examination of what was in the X juice? Did you see that and found what's in it and found the little squid thing?
No.
You didn't see that?
No, I did not.
Well, this was maybe about a month or two ago. I did a video on this. So you can go to Real Nagas, the YouTube channel. It's called the Hydrovulgus. And so there's a creature called the Hydrovulgus that's basically called the immortal, like an immortal squid. Like you can cut it up and chop it up and blend it up, and you can't kill it. It'll always the cells will always join back together. This little thing that has these little tentacles, looks like a squid with 8 tentacles and shit. It looks crazy. This doctor, she took some of the hokey juice, she examined it, and she saw one of them things in the juice, and it was alive. When she put it on the platform, under the microscope, when she started looking at it, because there's a electron microscope, there's a light. And so when she finally put the light on it, it started moving, and it saw her looking at it, and it started reaching up at her. And then it started moving off the damn platform. It started to try to get off the platform. That's when she killed it. She smashed it. She smashed it together when it tried. So then she was like, oh, maybe that was just that one. She waited about a couple weeks and ordered some more of the X juice. Looked at it again. This time she held it. She put it on the slab. So the first time she did it, it was really cold, and she put it on the slab and waited till it thawed out to room temperature. When it thawed out to room temperature, that's when she looked at it and saw the thing in it. This time she did the same thing, but she put it under 2 glass slabs. So when she looked at it this time after it thawed out, it was another one in there, but it was dead because it was smashed together. So this is what's in the hokey juice. This was in the modern Easies, that they found. Wow. So that was in there. That's
scary. That's
because it's crazy.
It's reaching up and grabbing. Can you imagine what it's grabbing inside the bodies that it goes in?
It tried to get off the slab. It tried to run away when she looked at it.
Things like it's alive.
I have in the video that I did about it, I put the link to the interview that she talks about, where she talks about it. And her name is like Dr. Kate. I don't want to mess her name up. I forgot it. But just go look for that and you'll see that. So that's what that's part of what's coming. And then you see that in there, some alien looking creature that they got inside this X juice. And then they tell you this week that NASA just hired 24 theologians to discuss what would happen if they found out that, or if the world found out that extraterrestrials were real.
Didn't the Vatican already say that they were? But that remember the Vatican, what is he? The head astronomer.
Oh, I don't know.
Made a comment maybe a few years back, said that. Actually said that.
You mean the Vatican? You talking about the Vatican dude or the guy from Israel, the Israel
guy? I'm talking about Vatican. I'm talking about the Vatican chief astronomer. Made a comment about that, and they were saying that there was no conflict between believing in extraterrestrials and being I definitely remember that. Some of you may be familiar with that.
Yeah, you can find it, send it to me. But as far as I know, they hadn't admitted to it, but they just hired them to see what would happen, because that means they're getting ready to tell the world that they exist, and they want to know if people are gonna start jumping off buildings or not. So they've been slowly doing this over the last couple years, releasing videos from the Navy with UFOs flying around, and they came out and, yeah, we can't deny it. Yep, it's real. Like we don't know what it is, but we can say it's not human. So that this is how they'll try to bring it in. Then last month, one of the it was a senator or one of the persons who worked, I think, at the defense, she came out and said there were extraterrestrials buzzing the warships. And she said that. She said the word. She said they could be. She said they had no idea what it was, but they could be extraterrestrial. And she choked up. She choked when she said the word. She didn't say it clean. She didn't want to say it, but she had to say, yeah, it could be extraterrestrial who are buzzing the warships. When you say the word extraterrestrial, they've been trying hard as hell not to say that word. Even UFO, they tried to change UFO to aerial phenomenon, something aerial phenomenon, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they tried to take. Now when they come out and they use that word, you got to wonder, what is the agenda when the government says the word extraterrestrials were buzzing their warships on the Atlantic?
It could be one of two things, though. It could be disclosure, or it could be setting the world up for a false flag attack to further
to bring the world together.
Right. So we the first ones that came down here, as the messengers, if you will, the angels of God, the sons of God saw the daughters of men. See what happened. Mm-hmm. You angel men came down here and saw them, saw what was here, right, and mixed your seed, and as somebody said, pillow talked and gave them all the information, told Delilah where your strength was, so she cut your hair off and took your strength.
Look,
so you wouldn't have done that. Sister would have locked your hair, tied.
That ain't exactly how
you don't protect this strength, but
that ain't exactly how it went.
That's what it said. Read the book of Enoch. That's
exactly how it went.
Came down here and got off course, went off mission. Weren't sent down here to do that. We didn't send y'all guys down here for that. We didn't send the men down there. the queen didn't send you down here for that.
You funny.
I may sound funny, but I'm serious.
They got off the game. They got off the game.
They did. They absolutely did. And to this day, we're paying for it. Stick to the plan.
It was many things that got us off. It was, that might have been a small part of it. Our karma is the major thing. Your energy out, energy in. That is one of the major laws of the universe. Cause and effect. And so, whatever energy you get back is the energy that you've put into the universe.
But the story is, though, that the so-called Sata queens, with the queens, where sent the brothers, and to do the mission. And if you were sent to do a mission, I'm not talking you personally, but they were sent to do a mission, and then you get this story in the Bible, little brief piece in the Bible, because they don't go into depth in the part that they've canonized. They just mention, the sons of God saw the daughters of men and they were fair, and they went into them and there were giants in the land. But then you would get in the book of Enoch, see how far they went in, and what did that wrought, as a result of them giving the training and teaching and giving our skills and secrets and so forth to them. They then passed it on to their sons and their other what
you gotta remember that story is not real. That's the retelling of the Anunnaki. So when you talk
that's a retelling of that, but from a standpoint of just we came down for a mission, you all, and got off track with something, okay, and that has been the downfall all along ever since.
Right. The way the story goes is that the Anunnaki, after they made humans, they had sex with them. So that's where that comes from. The Anunnaki was supposed to just make a worker being and then not have sex with them, but the Anunnaki started having sex with the worker that they made. This is in the story. Who knows if it's real? I'm just telling you the translation.
Where do you think who came first? You think the Anunnaki allegedly came down here and there were already beings here, right?
No. No. Not. Who knows? I'm talking about the story. Again, we talking about the story. The story was that they, again, Anunnaki means those who came. So An or Anu.
Anu came from heaven. Yeah. Or came from the heavens.
Saturn.
Right?
An or Anu in ancient Sumerian was Saturn.
Okay. So they
Anunnaki
came from
means those who came to Earth from Saturn.
Okay.
You break down the term.
All right. So, I'll give you that.
So
but my understanding is that there were beings of some sort here, and they were trying to get them. They also had their own workers that they brought with them. The workers was like the EGG didn't want. They had a revolt, right? Yeah. So they had a mutiny on the mountain in the mines, and so they were like, "We ain't doing this no more. Get somebody else to do this."
And then the Anunnaki said, smack the EGG up, and then it wasn't a lot of them left after the war between the EGG.
So it says they took the beings that were here, whatever those beings were, and but they seeded.
But the beings that were here were also because of the Anunnaki. It wasn't just being. They seeded the planet with spores in order for life to grow, and then after that life reached a certain point, they took that life and then started performing experiments on that life. But they had
Anunnaki would be a god, so to speak.
In terms of what we would know as God, that's who in the ancient stories who came down and created humans, because after they had the war with the EGG, because the EGG they didn't want to do the work no more. They was like, dude, this shit hurts. They went to the Anunnaki. Was like, nigga, this shit is hard. And the Anunnaki was like, dude, get your ass back in the field, nigga. Start doing that. They was like, no, we're not doing that. And they were like, oh, word, okay, let's just show you who the big dogs are. And so then after that, that's when they had to create us in order to finish the job. And so that's where.
How about they were us? How about the ones that came down were us? How about they were melanated?
They were, but they ain't like us. They way more advanced than us.
They were more advanced. They were bigger. They were huge. But as things happen, how the mutations and so forth, we shrink. Now you see those big pictures, and you see those great big sculptures, and you'll see, they sitting on a throne, and everybody around them is like standing up at their kneecap, maybe, and they're not even them come to their knee, and they look like little ants. So they were big us beings. So I'm big up in us.
We look like them and everything. We're their creation. We look like them and all of that. However, they're far more advanced than we.
I just want to say that these weren't these stories you see Jupiter rise, ascending, and all that, and you got all these pale faces. No. That's not how it happened.
Not at
didn't
all.
go down that way.
No. I went to film school, so I do. They teach you in film school. They teach you film symbolism, and so most people, if you don't understand, you guys need to become symbol literate in order for you to understand what's truly going on, because this is their contract. This is the way they get past the contract is
The
huh?
Karma contract.
Right. I don't get the karma behind it if I tell you what I'm doing.
Right.
Karma doesn't follow. So if I tell you and you come and you voluntarily go along with what I'm telling you, then that's on you. So they'll give you two options. They'll say, all right, they'll tell you the truth over here, and then they'll tell you the truth over here. This is all right, we're gonna give you this, but this is very small. They'll focus the light on this, very little light on this, but it's the truth. And then over here, we're gonna get this big ass light. We're gonna find the spotlight. We're gonna get all kind of lights on this bullshit over here. But over here, we did tell you, just so you know, it's a small little. But over here, nigga, look at this big top over here. Nigga, look at this food jumping up. You got the spectacle going on over here, so you focused on that and not on the actual truth. So then it truly is on you when they did show you both, but you were, so enamored with the spectacle that you missed out on the real deal. And this is how they tell you in movies. They, all the symbolism. There's a movie called Red Handed. And I've been hipping people to for the last year. Came out in the end of 2019. This has to do with the pizza thing, with the
gates.
Yes. So if you guys don't understand, you all of that, the politicians in Washington D.C., they got this little, this trafficking thing cracking off. Allegedly, they got this little trafficking thing. This is what came out in the Podesta emails when they were hiding all the, they were doing the codes, all these words for these code words, pizza and ice cream and chicken and all that were code words for, the youngins. So there was a movie. And so basically all this was, this goes back to Saturn. We talk about Saturn. And so the whole world is under the worship of Saturn, which most people don't know. And we worshiped Saturn too back in the day, melanated people, but we worshiped Saturn when Saturn was our sun. Saturn was the stationary or the immovable sun, that we thought it was our sun because it stayed there in the sky. It was the Atum Ra, the immovable sun. And so when the planets started to move around, Jupiter overtook Saturn. Saturn fell to the lowest hemisphere. Excuse me. It fell to the low hemisphere, and our sun, our actual sun, came out, and we were able to see it. Then that's when we started worshiping that sun. And we were like, oh, snap, that's the real dude. We was following the fake dude the whole time. Excuse me. And so, then that's when we got, that's when we were on sun worship. And this is where you get the lore of the Darth Vader or the Dark Father fall into the dark side. And then Luke Skywalker. Luke is L-U-C in Latin is light. So Luke means light Skywalker, which the light that walks across the sky, right? Which is the sun. And so this is the sun worship. So we worship Saturn at its height. They worship Saturn in its fall. And they understand they have to do this because they're the opposite of us. They can't use the energy in the same way. Which is smart. They finally figured it out. They can't use the energy in the same way we use it because they're not of the same vibration. They have to use it in an opposite way. So now, fast forward to now, the Saturn worship. You go to the Podesta emails and all that. There was an email in there that said, "We're going to sacrifice a chicken in Barack's backyard. We're going to sacrifice a chicken to Moloch in Barack's backyard tonight." And you're like, what? Okay, why would that email be in there? We're going to sacrifice a chicken to Moloch in Barack's backyard tonight. So which let you know a couple things. Your boy Obeezy was in on this. He's in on the whole ring thing. And then Moloch. Like, who's Moloch? What the hell is this? So Moloch is the ancient deity that Abraham was going to sacrifice his kid to in the Bible. But Moloch also is where it produces the word Malik, Malcolm. So also where you get the word king comes from Moloch. So, that's the deity. So Moloch is also representative of Saturn in ancient history. Moloch is Saturn in ancient times. So they were talking about sacrificing this, and in the emails, the chicken allegedly was a code word for a child, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you do the breakdown. The breakdown of what they were going to do. So now there's a movie that came out called Red Handed in the 2019. I just and how I found this was I was like, there has to be some type of ritual movies on Saturn. I just thought it just came to me. I said, let me Google this. Saturn ritual movies. And boom, this movie popped up. Red Handed just had made it. Literally, when I found it, they had just came out with the movie that month. When I found it, it's crazy how the universe works. Literally just came out with it. So I'm looking at the movie, and the movie is all about that. The whole movie is about the child, the child freeway, the child freeway thing, in Washington, D.C. And so at the very beginning of the movie, it's about Moloch and how they sacrifice children to Moloch, and they do the whole ritual and all this and that. And so you go through the whole movie, and at the end of I don't want to tell y'all the spoiler, but I don't want to spoil it for you. Even still, you can go watch it. The movie literally is crazy. The movie is on YouTube and Amazon Prime, so y'all can go watch it literally after this thing right now. YouTube, you got to pay for it. But so in the movie, these kids are part of this ring. That's this little ring that gets trafficked to Washington, D.C. And so one of them who had gotten saved from the ring when he was a kid, he grew up, he still had some mental trauma, but he researched symbolism. So this is why we got on the symbolism. In the movie, they find a symbol on a boat, and he calls it the chalice of something. And then he starts to break down the whole concept behind symbolism, how it's a corruption of your consciousness and your will. He killed it. And he was like, this is what true symbolism is. It's a taking of corruption of your true will and your consciousness and your consent. And, in order to do something that, that the intent, what the person who put out the symbol intended it to do. And I'm like, what the hell? They are breaking this, they're breaking this stuff off in this little movie called Red Handed. Then you fast forward, they have a ritual with the little child in the movie with the grand priest of this little order, this evil order, this Molochian order. He's a politician, a senator from Washington, D.C. And he tells the child that he tells the child, you're gonna come with me to Washington, D.C., where you're gonna live out your formative years, live out your formative years indulged in every earthly pleasure. Basically, your formative years. Basically, as you're growing up, we're gonna make you a child sex slave. Basically, is what he told him. And so you got to go watch this movie. Is sick, but it's showing you the whole that whole ring, because that movie. You figure when you look at the movie, you go, who is this movie made for? Like, why did they make this movie?
I'm surprised that they would let something like that be, made public, especially in light of all of the things that came out that they were trying to refute. But
that movie is made for the industry, though. See, they make movies. Just being in the industry, they make movies like this because this movie cost at least a good $2.5 million, $2 million to make. So they do movies like this. These are movies that are made for the people who are in the industry. They're not necessarily made for the public to see. These are the rituals that they'll play at their parties and their rituals. They'll make these movies, or for new people who they induct into their orders. They show them these movies, and this is what we're about, and shit like that. Because there was no publicity on that movie, and the people who were in that movie were some Hollywood people. Michael Madsen, he was in Kill Bill. He was the major dude in Kill Bill. One of the dude who produced it and directed it. He was a major dude. Michael Cassavetes has been a major player in Hollywood for 40 years. So you're like, how the hell? Why are these big dudes, these big time cats making this movie like this? Hear nothing about it. But when you watch it, you'll see why you didn't hear nothing about it. It's all about the serpent, man. Go watch that damn movie, and you'll know that that ring shit is real in Hollywood and Washington, D.C.
So, again, and you may have answered it, and maybe I didn't hear it. Just tell me if you did. I want to know from your perspective what we need to do to bring, to change. We have enough power and energy. I know I was saying something about, look to your left and look to your right, let go of your controller and say, we need to grab onto the same thing. But what do you feel we can do on the short term, we know the Supreme Court apparently is doing some work, to kind of push back. What can we do energetically? Because a lot of times, I don't think protesting, it's not going to help. That's definitely not going to help. No. It's the stuff we have to do in secret.
Don't believe in protesting. That is no. Activist book. That stuff don't work. You need to know the foundation of how this stuff moves, and that's going to be the law. But really, you got to get together first. Like, so it's twofold, and actually, it's not first or second. These two things kind of have to happen simultaneously, and so they know you're disaggregate. If you're not together, then it's easy for me to manipulate you if you're not together. And the vehicles that are going to run everything in the future are organizations, corporations, foundations, trust, things of those natures. And so you're going to have to get together with people and start creating those vehicles if you want to be able to move in this new future. You're moving into a new age, and so you have to get into a new vehicle and be able to sustain yourself in this new age, in this new future. And so that's going to, a corporation is just a bunch of people getting together of like mind in order to do some business in the world. But so we have to start creating these things. This is how Caucasians move, and this is how they protect themselves when they're in the public. So, when you're in a corporation, there's something called the corporate veil, which is a barrier between you and the public, and so we have to start creating these things. That's the first thing, creating organizations where when you come after us, you don't come after one person. You're coming after a body of, a giant body of people, which is far harder, way harder to take down, especially when we're all working on one vibration, one mind, one idea. Then, you can pick out people over here and say, this person is crazy. This person, he's a conspiracy theorist. That person does this. That person, it's easy to do that, when you're all, not together. So that's the first part, trying to get together that way, which is the reason we created the Know Your Rights Foundation. Because the other reason, the other thing is you're gonna have to learn your rights. You have to. If you're going to be in America and you're serious about freedom, which is what America is, your freedom, the foundation of that is your rights, the Constitution. And if you don't know the Constitution, how can you enforce that? And I know your Aboriginals on here, that's a different thing. Status is a different thing. Getting out of it and battling the corporation is the major thing. But what if you're still in the system and you don't see a way that you're going to be getting out of it soon? Your way is learning the rules of the system, because there are 50 million loopholes that are left in it, because the rich people who run it, they're not going to be caught up in the system that they create. So they leave loopholes in there for themselves that their lawyers, them high-priced lawyers, go and find and get them out of shit. You don't have that money. So you have to go learn what the loopholes are yourself and be able to maneuver yourself. But once you do, nobody can take that knowledge away from you. No one can take that away from you. Learning the law, I use this all the time. Learning the law is like, I can't tell you how great it is to learn the law. Like, less than 1% of people in the world know the law. 4% of people or lawyers in America are melanated every year. 4% out of 100, and most of them are entertainment lawyers. So there are not that many melanated lawyers who know criminal law. So knowing the law is kind of like, trying to explain, or me trying to explain what knowing the law is like, is trying to explain to somebody who's lived in the desert their whole life, has never seen anything but dirt and dune hills and and scorpions and all of that. nothing but sun and burning sun, scorching sun their whole life. You go up and tell them, man, there's a place called Hawaii, brother. You ever been to Hawaii? Man, there's waterfalls and and birds and fish all over the place. And he'd be like, man, that dude he'd probably kill you. If you try to tell him that there's a place like that. Get the fuck out of it. There ain't no such place like that. He would have to actually go there, because this person is so indoctrinated and so embedded with the ideal of what of their environment, that they would have to actually go there to be able to see. There is a place like Hawaii that exists like that, but you would never be able to communicate that to that person, because they all they've seen in their whole life is this. And that's what with most melanated people, all we've seen is the law or the government smashes the whole time. That's all we've mostly seen since we've been within the system. And that was basically something called, that was a plan. That was something called bulldozing, where you get the word bulldozer. And back in the early 1900s, to discourage melanated people from learning the law and learning government or participating in government, they would do something called bulldozing, which was beating you or giving you a dose of a bull, or beating you like what's the term I'm looking for? So beating you with the intensity of how they would beat a bull, or so it's like a bull, give you a bull's dose of a beating. That's how the term went. So that term, bull's dose of a beating, became the term bulldozer, and that's how you got big bulldozers that's moving houses out of the way and shit right now. But that literally came from them beating your ass, from you learning how you wanting to learn government and law back in the time. So that's genetically embedded in us. That fear, man, the government ain't for us. The government, they ain't gonna do nothing else. That's because we had that fear of when we did try to learn the government and participate, or learn the law and participate in government, it was beaten out of us. Right now, though, you have to understand that is your shit right now. Learning the law, I can't explain to you how understanding and knowing the law will help you. But if you find people who's taking the police stop law class and who knew nothing about the law and just the minimal law that they know, how it's helped them, man, you would understand this is your true way out of this stuff. And you're not going to have any other way, because if you don't know your rights, how can you protect them? So that's, to me, is the two things we have to do. We have to get together in these organizations. We have to unify, excuse me, like I said, in these organizations, but do it with the knowledge of the rules of the system. Because once you learn the rules of the system, you can manipulate them to any way you want after that, just like they do. But if you don't know the rules of the game, you can't do that. And so that's literally the reason we created the Know Your Rights Foundation, is because this is the vehicle that we made to move people into the future. If you want, everybody just pile on into this organization. We know if you can't create one, then jump in this one, because there's no greater organization that to be able to move in than one that's dedicated to knowing your rights and enforcing those rights. So, but do something else. Create your own organizations. Just create something where you are together with a bunch of people who have the same mentality and ideas that you have. That's going to be the way out of this stuff.
Well, yeah, there are lots of organizations that exist. So, and that's what you hear a lot of conversation about. So, even though it's not one individual, one here and one there, but they're groups. How do the groups get together? How do the groups, bring themselves? Because again, you still have separation. So right. There has to be a way to bring those groups together in order to bring their collective strengths to bear.
You got to find a common goal. And, what better common goal is securing your freedom. To me, that's the first thing for me. If I ain't free to do anything, I don't got nothing else. You can't. I am a freedom first type of person. Do not tell me what to do. Don't try. You try to tell me what to do, you're gonna get a problem from me, because I am the ultimate. I am autonomous of my own will, of my own force. And if you don't have that, then you can't really do anything else in life. So freedom is the very first thing. And so freedom is not liberty, just so you guys know. Liberty is you can go over here, but not there. You can go back here, but not there. That's, it's freedom with constraints or restraints. Whereas actual freedom is the complete autonomy to assert one's will as you see fit all the unless it you infringe upon someone else's freedom. But as long as you don't do that, you can go out there and be free to do whatever you want. So there's a difference between that. And so the term liberty also in ancient times meant a freed slave. That was the term for a freed slave. So a lot of people don't even understand the system that you're in. Yeah, give me liberty. I want liberty. Okay, well, here you go. you want slave status? Here you go. I'm gonna give you slave status. But in order to really mess around with this, you got to understand you're dealing with a corporation. Yeah, we just talked about this corporation that's in the same state as Dr. G. It's filed right in the same state as Dr. G. So in order to deal, if you're going to deal with a corporation, remember, you're not dealing with a government. You can deal with them just as you were dealing with FedEx or McDonald's or anything else. They have to have contracts in order to deal with you. In order to obligate you to anything, in order for a corporation to obligate you to anything, it has to have a contract with you that you signed and agreed to be obligated by the terms.
Many of us are under the contract that was signed by our footprint. Yep. And our mother's signature, thumb or whatever. Because so we have to undo that, right? They took our foot, our little, minutes old foot, and stamped it down and said, "Sign." That's how they made stamps based on our foot.
They sure did. But even though they did that, they're still a corporation. So there's a Supreme Court case called United States versus Planters Bank of Georgia, and in that case, it says that a government acting in its corporate capacity loses its sovereign status. So that means if you can prove that the United States of America is a corporation, it loses its sovereignty. Therefore, it has no sovereignty over you at all. It's only the contracts now. Now you can challenge it on a contractual level. All right. Where's this contract? I'm severing this contract. You can't enforce. What government rule for there is no government. You're a corporation. You can only implement policy, not law. When you understand that the two different things, you can take them as they are and not as they appear to be. And that's how you truly have to attack someone in law. You have to attack them who they truly are. If you attack the appearance of the person, you're not going to win in law. There's two things. There's something in law. You have to be right and correct, meaning I can be philosophically and idealistically correct or right about what I'm saying. However, I have to be correct, meaning it has to be written in the law. It has to follow the letter of the law. And when these two things match up, then things move in law. But if you got only one without the other, they don't move. This is how it works.
So that's what one learns in the Know Your Rights Foundation.
Well, in the Know Your Rights Foundation, we teach basic police stop law, because that's the first line of defense. When a popo roll up on you, their interaction is, basically how it usually goes. Yeah, can I see your ID? And right off the bat, let me see your ID. Right off the bat, most melanated people think the police officers have the right to do that, and they don't. Not without something called reasonable articulable suspicion. They have to articulate a crime that they suspect you of having committed, in the midst of committing, or about to commit. And if they cannot do that, you don't have to do anything a police officer says. Period. That's the Supreme Court, Terry versus Ohio. So most people don't know that. Then also they don't know that you don't have, when a police officer walks up to you and they detain you, and they immediately, what they start doing, they start patting you down. Like, they can't do that either. The only way they can do that is if they suspect you of having a weapon and you being dangerous with that weapon. Then they have to be able to show where they think the weapon is, and they only able to pat that area down. They cannot go in your pockets without probable cause. But most melanated people, because we think that we don't know that, we'll let them go all in our pockets and rub on our genitals and all that and go down. You let them just violate you all day long because you don't know simple law. And they know you don't know that, so they're going to violate it. There's a video of them pulling over some kids. And because these kids look old, the kids were like 15 or 16, but they're, we look, our melanin helps us to look older and younger, which is crazy. It helps us look older when we're younger, but then when we're older, it helps us look younger, which is crazy. But they saw these kids and they started jacking them up. And because the kids were sagging, when they pulled him out of the car and they started patting him down or whatever, his pants fell. One of the kids' pants fell. And so the officer basically looked inside of his underwear, started strip searching in him. He had no reasonable suspicion or nothing that this kid had done anything, but basically strip searched this kid in the middle of the road in front of everybody, all the homes. And if this child had known that that this officers, it was like three of them. It was three of them. If they had known that these officers didn't have the right to do that, now they got lawyers after their parents got lawyers after and sued, and the police officers got in trouble. But what happens when your children are able to enforce those rights right then at 15 and 16? And these police officers roll up and they have no power over them because they are conscious of their rights. This is where this needs to go, because they'll stop preying on your children when they know they cannot do that. They roll right up on him and strip search him right in the middle of the road. That's the most embarrassing, egregious, embarrassing thing that you can do. But digging all down in his genitals, right there in front of all these people. So again, if you don't know that the police officers, if you don't know the basic rights that you have when these police officers, they roll up on you, then you cannot protect yourself. You can't protect anybody else around you. And there's so much protection. First thing, take your camera out. They're scared of the camera. But when you take your camera out and you know your rights, man, it is a whole different world. Especially if you say something like, when the police officer rolls up on you and you say, yeah, officer, before the conversation even goes down, what's your name, badge, and surety bond number? And they're gonna be like, what'd you just ask? Yeah, what's your name, badge? They get the first two questions all the time. The third one, what's your surety bond or insurance number? That's a question you ain't supposed to ask. That's a question you're not supposed to know, because they have insurance to make sure that they don't violate your rights or tear the city up, or create liability for the city. So they have bonds or liability insurance or fidelity insurance, meaning they don't violate the public trust. If they do that, they get fired, or they get put, or when you place a claim, I say when they violate the public trust, you place a claim on that insurance or that bond, and they get fired, or they can't work that day until an investigation goes on, and they cannot work that day. Other than you placing a complaint on them, and you go try to file a lawsuit, and they're able to stay on the job for 2 years, making money, harassing 50 other people, a day while that's happening. They cannot work that day. So when they start to understand that that level of their information, they'll stop messing with you. And just a few people have been pulling that stuff out. There was a video, I'm going real quick, but there's a video of a lady whose son got pulled over by New York police officers. He called his mom on the phone because she was an ex-police officer. So when the police officers rolled up to him, they didn't have a reason why they pulled him over at all either. And just so you guys know, when you get pulled over by police, they're supposed to tell you why they pulled you over, or it's an unlawful stop. Just so you guys know, they have to tell you why they pulled you over first, and you have to make them. So when they did this, he gets his mom on the phone. He's like, she's like, why did they pull you over? I don't know. I don't know what they did. So when the police officers come up there, his mom started talking to him. She's like, yeah, I'm with precinct, bop, 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 bop. She started talking. He was like, and so they started testing her to see if she was real, if she was a real police officer. And she started giving them information. So she tells her son, she says, yeah, ask him for their insurance number. She says, and she says this on the phone, ask him for their insurance number. And then the police officer go, she knows she's not supposed to ask us for that. She's not supposed to ask us for that. So while the son and the mom is going back and forth, she's like, he's supposed to give that to you. But while the mom is talking, what you see on the camera, the dash cam, you see the police officers slowly walk back. They slowly walk away from the car, and then when the kid walked around, they jumped in the car and took off. They jumped in the car and took off. He looked around, and the police was gone. They said they were like, she's not supposed to ask us that. No, she's not. What is she doing? She knows better than that. Because that was, to them, that was a violation. That was a brotherhood violation. You're not supposed to tell anybody else about that. We're not supposed to be able to give that. We're not supposed to have to give that number up. although it's public information. You can, if you request it, they're supposed to give it to you. So this is the type of power that knowing this information has if you just knew it was out there and you were able to enforce it. So this is the main thing that we're doing right now.
So they can get that information from either I guess getting the I know we have I always run the one about the, let me get this up here.
Real Nagas?
Something. I'm trying to find it. Where you have your the book. The book on melanin.
Yeah. So you do Real Nagas. So basically, this is what we have on the Know Your Rights Foundation for you guys to know your right. Here it is. So this is the Know Your Rights manual. We have one coming. We have one coming in Spanish in the next couple of weeks. We're redoing it in Spanish for everybody who speaks Spanish. Mm-hmm. We have that. So this is the bond book. When we talked about the police insurance, this teaches you how to place a lien on their police insurance, what's called the public official bond. Everyone has one, even judges have them. So if a judge is trying to railroad you and you can prove that they're violating your constitutional rights, then you can place a lien on the judge's bond and get them taken off. See, they don't have all these people in the law. They can't just do anything they want. They can do it because they know you don't know anything. You ain't gonna go look it up. You're not gonna go look that shit. So if I knew that, I would gangster you all day too.
Well, here we are. Are you still offering it with the melanin research and the police stop material? Or offering it separately?
I'm just showing. So all of that comes with that comes with. So
that's running down underneath. If you can see that, those of you order the book but I think if they didn't want the book of melanin research, they can pay separately for this material.
Right. So this is what comes with it. This is a constitutional rights card right here, and this is a qualified immunity card. It tells the police officers that they lose qualified immunity if they violate your constitutional rights. So you would hand them this, and also you would hand them this, and you would hand them this, and this is a qualified immunity notice. So these three things stay in your car, and this is your police stop, or your police stop, or you can keep it in your pocket. You can laminate it and keep it in your pocket. But this is what you would give police officers at a police stop. These three things right here, and then if they violate your rights, their constitutional rights, this is the thing that teaches you how to place a lien on their bond when they violate your constitutional rights, because the bond is tied to your constitutional rights. It's called oath and bonds. So when they violate the Constitution, they lose the bond, period. Literally. So if you can prove that they violated your constitutional right, they lose the bond immediately. And so then also we have this. So if you want, my bad. So we have, that comes with that. We have also flashcards. This is the Cliff Notes. So this is volume 1, volume 2. And so this also comes with the police stop law package. And then for right now, we also have vaccine religious exemption cards, because we know people are getting mashed on at these restaurants and at their jobs. So this also breaks down the civil rights, your vaccine religious exemption from the civil rights law, 1964, the civil rights law. So Title 7. So this breaks this down. So all of this right now for the next week, if you order the Great Book of Melanin Research on realnagas.com, I will put this vaccination card. You get the whole police stop law package for free, but usually I don't add this. It's not in it, but I will add the vaccine religious exemption card for the next week because my website was down, so people weren't able to get it when I was offering it. So for the next week, I'll be able to do that. It comes with the lanyard that stays around your neck. But you can only get this, if you just want the card, you can only get this at knowyourrightsfoundation.org. And so if you want any of the package without the book, just go to knowyourrightsfoundation.org. You can also volunteer there. We got a lot of volunteers, people who are learning the law. We created these these law classes. I mean, people are truly learning their rights right now. It's off the chain. They're enthusiastic about it. We're having fun in these classes. But when we come out of this, the body of people who will understand the law is going to be crazy. The power that we will have. So if you want to volunteer, you want to be able to be a certain branch of the Know Your Rights Foundation in your town or your city or your state, then just hit us up at knowyourrightsfoundation.org and hit the volunteer thing. We'll send you an email where you can go and oh, sorry, my power's run out. An email where you can go and fill out a questionnaire, and we'll get back at you. So this thing is moving. We were on Kwame Brown had us on. He promoted us a couple weeks ago. So we had sent him a package. So after that happened, it really took off. We got so many volunteers. So don't miss out. If you guys want to jump on this and get down at the ground floor and be a part of the first generation of people, of that body of people who mash out with their rights, hit us up. We need everybody that we can get right now.
Okay. So up here, I've got the order, the melanin research, please stop material, realnagas.com, status classes, Patreon, Real Nagas. And then you got your, I guess, www.knowyourrightsfoundation.org.
Yes.
We'd like to have a little bit more space between that, but hopefully they'll figure it out. Let me see. Let me take it down and fix that a little bit. But trying to get it. Yeah. Let me put at least
real quick. Did you see did you watch the Witcher? Have you watched that show?
I haven't watched that yet. That my next I binge everything. When I watch something, I sit down and I watch like 10 episodes in like a day.
Oh, the dragon stuff in there is what? The dragons in episode, everybody watching Witcher season 1, episode 6 breaks down the whole dragon thing. I'm gonna have to tell y'all real quick because I don't know if y'all see y'all again.
You like to spoil it. Go ahead, tell us. Okay.
So talked about the gold dragon, right? So in season 1, episode 6 of The Witcher, they go on a hunt for a dragon. They're on a dragon egg, and so this one supposedly rich noble dude, he wants to go on one last adventure to try to find the dragon's egg. When he shows up to meet the Witcher to ask the Witcher to go on this hunt with him, he shows up with 2 African warrior sisters. This little Caucasian dude who looked like he was a mechanic from Kentucky. He's a little short. I mean, shorter than the women too. The women are taller than him. African warriors. And this little white Caucasian dude is walking with him. And you're like, why the hell is this little Caucasian dude walking with these 2 African sisters? All right, you're supposed to accept that. Whatever. All right. So as we move out through the show, they're on the journey to go find the dragon egg, and they're sitting at the fire. And one of the dudes go, I never knew there were real dragons. And he's like, yeah. The Witcher starts to talk. He's like, yeah, there are dragons. He said there used to be a lot more before they were killed for their fortune. He says, but there are a few that still exist. And he said, and then he starts to explain the different dragons. He said there was the green. He said the green dragons are the most common. Red dragons are a little more rare, and then black dragons are the rarest. And then the little Caucasian dude, he goes, no, gold dragons are the rarest. And then the Witcher says, what do you mean? There are no such things as gold dragons. And he was like, there would have to be some type of great mutation in order for that to happen. Now, if you understand the science, you read the Kabbalion, and you understand the 7 laws of the universe, one of the first things is mental transmutation, being able to transmute a lower mental frequency, a lower vibration to a higher vibration. That's the true alchemy. The mundane or world alchemy is turning base metals into gold, like lead into gold. But the true alchemy is turning a lower consciousness into a higher consciousness, which is turning, lead into gold. The higher consciousness is represented as gold. So he goes, that would have to be some type of a result of a great mutation, transmutation, because the dark dragon was known as the evil, aggressive one, and the gold dragon was known as the enlightened one. And so he said, in order for that to happen, for you to be able to go from a dark dragon to a gold dragon, there would have to be some type of great mutation. Transmutation is what he meant. He just took the trans off in the front. So he was like, so they were going back and forth. And as they were talking, the little Caucasian dude, he's playing with a pineal, a pine cone, which represents the pineal gland. Again, enlightenment, right? So again, then you go back and you look at the dragons that the Witcher listed that used to exist. He said a green dragon, a red dragon, and a black dragon. What flag is that? The green, black, and the red.
Well,
Africa.
Africa, yeah.
That's the African flag. The red, the black, and the green. That's the African flag. They literally told you right there. A green dragon, a black dragon, and a red dragon. And remember, you are the dragon in history. They just gave you the African flag and told you the dragon. Then when at the end of when they go find the dragon, the green dragon, it has an egg. The green dragon is dead. When they go to try to take it, the gold dragon shows up. The gold dragon is the Caucasian dude. He was the gold dragon. The gold dragon the Caucasian dude traveling with the African sisters was the gold dragon. He is supposed to be us. They couldn't put a brother in there because it would have been that would literally been giving you everything. So they put a little Caucasian dude giving all the wisdom through the whole show. Anytime any wisdom was needed, it was the Caucasian dude, the little Caucasian dude breaking off wisdom, telling the future, all this and that type of stuff. Remember, enlighten, the gold dragon is enlightenment. Then finally get to the end, they show him as the gold dragon, and he speaks and he's enlightened. He has all the wisdom as he's the gold dragon. They told you your whole story in that one goddamn episode.
And then they switched it as usual.
Yes.
They did those.
Right. I'm sorry. In season 2, real quick, the conjunction. Remember the conjunction? We started talking about the great conjunction. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In season 2, the whole season is about the conjunction. Oh, so you better watch it. You gotta watch it. You better go watch it. Stop playing.
Listen, this has been great. This has absolutely been great, as usual. See, I told you I need no pre-questions or anything. We could have a conversation forever and ever. And I think I'm sure what it's a lot of stuff. So folks I've left that up for you so they will know, to reach out to you. But I'm gonna do my little commercial. How about that? Do it. As you were asking me about this, and I did a little promo today. I really wasn't. It's not a real commercial. There's no music and anything like that. But I just introduced this product that I am a proud distributor for last Tuesday, and kind of like they're flying out the door. But I want to make sure that folks know about it and have me running back and forth to the post office. I'm hiring someone. I've hired someone actually because I
to do the mailing.
Yes. Because I was doing everything. I was putting boxes together, putting the boxes together and filling the orders and doing all this stuff. Like
I get it.
So I had to hire someone, but it's all good. It's the cost of doing business,
right?
But listen, before I go there, this has been great, as usual, as always. Got to get you back. I hope that those who are watching will contact you for the police stop and melanin research information, or is just and I think let's make it clear. If they don't want the melanin research and they just want the police stop material, they go to the knowyourrightsfoundation.org.
Exactly. Okay. If you just want the vaccination card by itself, you can go to knowyourrightsfoundation.org. If you want the full package for the next week, I'll be putting in the vaccination card with the whole package from Real Nagas.
Okay, you got my address right.
And just so you know, you guys only get one deck of cards in the package. You don't get both of these, so you can specify.
What's the difference? I mean, what's the difference between them getting one or versus the other? I mean, so they'll know.
This one is the basics, is the first things you need to know. So some people have this already, so they may want the part 2. That's what I mean. So this is the basic one that has what a Terry stop is, what probably the basics of what probable cause is. Just literally the basic stuff that you need to know about a Terry stop. This gets deeper into the rights that the police have at traffic stops, smell of marijuana, how you can get back at the police officers through certain federal laws. That's what both of these are.
But they can order both if they want. They
can order both of these either from realnagas.com or Know Your Rights Foundation.
Okay, cool. And then you also had I know you sent me one, but it's a little small for my face. But you had the face mask They had the Terry.
The Terry stop. Yeah, that's on the real Nagas.com.
Like, speak no evil, just read my face.
Right. Exactly. And that's all you can get. You can get also Terry stop t-shirts. We got t-shirts. I don't answer questions, which is what you should tell every police officer when they start asking you questions. They only ask you questions because they're trying to get you to incriminate yourself. So you should never answer questions by police. Hey, where you coming from? Hey, where you live? Where you going? I don't answer questions. You should tell. But yeah, we have all these type of t-shirts on.
Somebody said, I guess Inez Rice L says they steal your paperwork when they go to your car. I've heard that on many occasions that wars have been stopped and they take their paperwork and they never get their paperwork back. I mean, they take their cards or they take their paperwork. Is there some kind of remedy against? From that? Is that not stealing?
It is stealing. That's your property. You can always get them back for that. But if that's the case, if they're doing it, you don't have to roll. You don't have to hand them your stuff. You can show it to them. There's no law that says you have to hand the police officer your paperwork. It says that you have to show it to them. Mm-hmm. See, this is why knowing the law is very important. You don't have to hand the police officer anything. You can literally show it to them. You can press it against the window. Now, if they tell you to get out of the car, you do have to get out of the car if it's a lawful police stop. Meaning, if they told you a lawful reason why they pulled you over, then if they say get out of the car, you have to do it. There's a Supreme Court case that says that. However, if they haven't told you why they pulled you over, then you don't. So this is why knowing your rights is so important. You don't have to roll your window all the way down. They only tell you to do that so they can smell what's in the car. They can say, or they can act like they smelled something in the car. So if you keep your window rolled up, they can never say, well, I smell marijuana. See, these are different tactics and things that you have no idea that they're doing when they roll up to you. But if you know, you can thwart all of that stuff. So yeah, if they take your paperwork, that's your property. You can sue them for it. And that's a seizure of your property. That's a violation of your Fourth Amendment rights. A seizure of your person and property. So if they seize your property without probable cause, that's a violation of your constitutional rights, and you can place a lien on their bond. But make sure you get that on camera. If you get it on camera, they're gonna give you your paperwork back. This is what most people don't understand. If you're rolling out, most melanated people, you should have a dash cam in your car. If you're rolling around without a dash cam in your car, that's $50. Y'all tripping. Everyone, especially melanated people, you need a dash cam in your car because it records what happens before the stop, during the stop, and after the stop. And that's when they usually lie. Well, you ran a stoplight. Well, no, I got it on dash cam. See, and then you say, all right, well, give me the ticket. We'll handle this in court. Whenever you usually say that, and they say I got it on cam, they won't give you a ticket. They'll say, "Oh, I'm gonna let you off with a warning." They'll let you off with a warning this time. So yeah. So you have to know how to deal with these cats. They are scared of the camera. They are terrified of the camera. That is your best friend. Get you dash cam. Get you one of these. This is a body cam. Get you a body cam. This is on Amazon right here. So when the popo roll up on you, you see that popo roll up on you, you clip this right here, right to your neck. You be like, yes, officer. What'd you say? Have it right here. Go ahead, officer. They can't. So when they always say, well, give me your hands, put your phone down, because if you filming with your phone, they'll try to say, put your phone down, come here. What? All right, boop. Here, boop. All right, now keep talking. Got it right here. Again, best friend is the camera, and then the second one is the law while showing what's happening on that camera. All right. It's out there for you.
All right. So okay, so here we go. I'm going to go out with my commercial and then my theme music.
You better watch The Witcher. You better watch The Witcher.
I am. I'm going to watch The Witcher. Maybe I'll start watching it tonight. Actually, I will. And finish. I mean, not finish it, but start. Right. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Come back next Tuesday for another great show. Got Dr. Yosepa, who brother was on well over a year ago. With he was living in Vietnam at the time, and then Vietnam had some crazy lockdown stuff. And brother was on. Maybe he'll talk about it, but I think he didn't eat for maybe almost 2 months. Because they would not allow them. So he is now relocated to Mexico. and he's going to be on the show next week. But it was really bad. I was trying to figure out how could I transmute some food from here and be like, how can we it was that bad. He was living off the air. He became a breatharian.
Breatharian.
But he got out and he's relocated. He's going to be my guest next week. But thank you all so much. Thank you, Kevin. Love you. You'll have you back in the middle of the year or anytime. No, we're going to talk about that other thing that I talked about.
Okay? You can have me sooner than that.
Yeah, I know. We're going to talk about that other thing. So, okay. All right. So now I'm going to try to do this little video that I did on my phone, y'all. And I just want to tell you about this great product that I have, that we're offering. Dr. Botanica and I have put our heads together, and we got a distributorship right from the CEOs of the company. So here we go.
Nice.
Or I'm going to try to hear them. Don't go nowhere, Kevin. You wanted to know about this. Okay. Stay on here for just a few minutes, okay? Just stay for a few minutes. I'm gonna just put this up, and it's crazy. I'm gonna do it. Let me put this up. All right, I would have to take down. Y'all have to forgive me because I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing here. No, don't worry. I gotta take some stuff down and put some stuff.
I get it.
I'm gonna get it, y'all. Don't it's like I'm doing like 3 different things at the same time to get this. But here we go. Y'all heard about this product last week, and I did a little commercial. Let me say, I did. Here we go. I did this today.
Dr. G here, just checking to see if you've ordered your Chokeberry Plus. What? You don't know what Chokeberry Plus is? Oh my. It is an amazing berry that has the highest ORAC level of most berries known to man. Actually, it's a step higher than elderberry and is much, much higher than berries such as noni, goji, and mangosteen. What is chokeberry, you ask? Well, chokeberry is an antiviral. It's antioxidant, and it's an immune system boosting berry. It also provides support and balance for the blood pressure, the blood sugar, and cholesterol. Yeah, in one little dose that you would take a day that's very pleasant tasting, like a glass of fine wine, you are going to provide yourself with a lot of protection, especially in these times that we're living in. Like I said, it's antiviral, antioxidant, and anti-inflammatory, among the balanced support that it provides for the blood sugar, the blood pressure, and the cholesterol. You want to know how you can get yours? Sure. Just text CB3L to 302-345-0500, and we'll shoot you out an order link. You want to get yours today. Especially in these times we're living in, we need some added support and protection. So I highly recommend Chokeberry Plus. And let me say this, Chokeberry Plus, and the chokeberry is also what's known as the aronia berry, but all of the chokeberry products out there are not created equal. We've got probably the best tasting, and you'll feel it the moment it hits your taste buds, and it actually does some things as soon as it hits your mouth. I'm not going to talk about that, but it's going to be good for you, good for your family. You can get a 60 serving 3-liter box shipped out within 2 to 3 days, and it'll come by priority mail insured. So again, text CB3L to 302-345-0500 and get your chokeberry today. Peace.
Dr. G. Really? Oh shit. Yeah, that's me. Who's she? Yeah, that's me. Dr. G. Really? 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 Who's she? Yeah, that's me.